Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I'm really glad you're here. Today's date is Friday, October 14th, 2022. And I have to word my video carefully. I've been asked by people to look into polling situations, and I wanted to say that that's been an uncomfortable topic for me to address because since there's been no open recalibration or fixing of previous shenanigans, I worry that by participating in polling processes, we're giving our consent to them to remain as they are, riddled with issues and not truly reflective of constituents' wishes. So it was with great pleasure that I saw something today about my home state of Alaska. Let me show you. Okay, this was Twitter, one of the major accounts. 14 precincts in Alaska have banned voting machines and will count votes by hand. This should be happening in every state. I was so excited. I finally had a positive spin to do about this whole process of choosing our representation. And then I saw that while it's been passed, it's not going to take effect until 2023. So the current situation and the current possibility for shenanigans, and indeed there have been, is going to be able to proceed apace for these important midterm elections coming up. Now, more than that, even with that, in the Fairbanks borough, now in Alaska, we don't have counties, we have boroughs. April Trickey, isn't that a wonderful name for what I'm about to say? Borough Clerk April Trickey has decreed that observers of the count have to sit across the room from it, 10 feet away, so that they can see the counting, but they can't see what's being counted. It's being contested. It violates state statutes. Hopefully that will change between now and election day, but shame on you, April Trickey. Okay. Now, a couple other things to note about Alaska election processes. With the help of Dominion voting machines, ranked choice voting is now a thing in Alaska state. It's a tricky, cumbersome way to choose the top candidate. It was not deemed to be truly voted in by popular vote. When a recount was requested, the Attorney General's office said that it would be a waste of taxpayer money to recount. Now, that's a similar theme that we're hearing, not just in my state of Alaska, but other states. So with the upcoming midterm elections, I'd like to put a thought in your head. Alt Media Chatter says that prior to the previous big polling situation, George Soros gave inducements to attorney generals to do that very same statement if they were asked about recounts, to say it was a waste of voter time and money. I would suggest, if that is a phrase you hear in your state or from your state attorney general, if a recount is asked for, that then the next thing to do would be to ask for an auditing of the AG's finances and that of his immediate family. It would just make sense, because ensuring the integrity of our polling process is vital. It's not a waste of taxpayer money. Okay, so there's a little other news about Alaska going on. One of the alt media sites is reporting that there's lots of signs up in Russia that they own Alaska, and that may be a point of confrontation. I'm not going to read about that because, as I said, I truly, truly believe that there is a fear-inducing element to talking about things like that, but it's not going to be, it's not able or going to happen, period. So what I would like to do today is ask about Alaska elections in particular, and then I'm going to come back and just do one about shenanigans in nationwide, just to get a sense of if it can be mitigated in some way, because we know many places are still refusing to do away with those very, 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 very sketchy machines, and they're being paid well to take that stance too, I imagine. I would not be surprised to find out. So my first read tonight is going to be the Alaska elections. In light of the fact that the hand counting won't take place till 2023, what are the chances of a fair polling process to be seen for my state? And then my second read will be, let's compare Alaska with the rest of the states. What are their overall chances for fair elections? Some places have gone to hand counting and more observation and observers, and some have done away with those machines. But still, the whole process is just rife with issues that have not been well addressed, in my opinion. But hey, this is Laura's view, Tarot 2, right? Okay, so the first read, let's get to it with Alaska. What's going to happen with their polling processes in the upcoming election? Okay, my home state of Alaska, what are your chances of integrity in the polling process this time out? And is there other information the universe wants us to know? Okay, we have the Chariot, Death, Page of Pentacles, Page of Wands, the World, Three of Wands, and Four of Cups. So interesting. First of all, let's look. Out of 7 cards, we have 1, 2, 3 major arcanas. It's a good question. It's being just reinforced by the fact that so many major arcanas have chosen to show up in answer to this question. So Alaska polling chances, we've got the Chariot for the basic question, which is one of determination. Just look at that face on that guy. He's very determined. Okay. So people are determined to clean up that process. We've had too long and too many opportunities to choose our representation that have been shenaniganed. And so it's kind of the end of an era, and they know it. Let's see what's going to happen with the basic process. In recent past, we got the Page of Pentacles showing up here. He's financial opportunity. So, hey, Miss Tricky, how's your bank account these days, huh? Did it have a little boost with your stance? But he is also a card of worthwhile effort and diligence. So this push in my state and others to clean up that process is worthwhile, and we know it. We know it. Page of Wands is showing up for the present, white hat. I think we're going to have some white hat observation for the whole process and what's happening, which makes me feel better because in the near future, we have the World showing up. So we may actually end up with the cleanest election that my state has seen in decades. We have the Three of Wands here, a little advice in looking forward. So as we push forward into the future, we are going to be looking at election processes in a whole new way. Probably with those quantum phones as they come out. Who knows? We'll see. And then we have the Four of Cups here. And that's one of, he can be a little distracted. So we want to make sure that we don't get distracted, keep our eyes on the prize, that we want fairly chosen people in office. Okay. Now, one last comment about Alaska before I look at overall for the rest of the state. Since I'm moving to Maine, this will be my last opportunity to cast my ballot in this wonderful state that I love so much. And I would encourage since we know hand counting is going to be happening in 2023, I would encourage my fellow Alaskans to get that ranked choice voting measure back on the ballot and see if it truly is what a majority of the constituents want. It'd be a little easier to live with if we had that assurance that it was truly and fairly brought into being. So get that back on the ballot, please, please, after 2023. That would be fabulous. Okay, now I'm going to reshuffle and we'll take a look at what are the chances overall. I'm not going to look state by state since there's 50 of them. What are the overall chances of having truly elected people nationwide happen at the end of this upcoming process? So what are our chances? Is it looking good that moving forward, we will have more people in those positions who truly their constituents chose them to be there? So nationwide, what are the chances with the efforts people are making to watch the counting, to have lawn chair parties outside drop boxes, efforts to clean up any shenanigans? Will it result in a better process in the upcoming polling event? Let's see. Nationwide, and we have the world showing up eventually for in the near future for Alaska. Let's see what happens with nationwide. Oops, I'm going to assume everything's upside down because that one was, which should tell you I don't glance at the cards. We have the Tower, King of Swords. We have the Three of Cups. We have the Devil. We have the Five of Wands, Page of Cups, and the Hermit. Okay, well, our question was nationwide. Are the efforts that people are making to clean up the shenanigans and is it going to affect a big change in the process? Now, it's interesting that the Tower comes up, which can be a no card right off the bat, but it's also it's usually about a pivotal event. So between now and that polling opportunity, we may have a pivotal event that comes out. If we do, it's going to be related to the White Hats. This is one of my strongest White Hat cards. Frequently refers to Mr. T. Okay, so let's eyes on the process because it's not cleaned up. Okay, in the past they've celebrated their shenanigans quite well. When I see the Three of Cups aspected by something that what I think of as a darker card, like the Devil, yeah, it's not a good celebration. They're celebrating shenanigans. And this card shows up the Devil for the present. He's about temptations and yeah, they know weak points. They know what people will, how to get to them. You know, evil has had a long time to hone their skills. So no, I'm not seeing a huge cleanup here. There's going to be some unhappiness about the results because it's going to be so obvious once again that shenanigans have happened. A little reassurance here, though, that the Page of Cups shows up here as a little clarifying for that strife and contention. And when he shows up, he's often one about guidance and a pleasant surprise. Okay, again, we got a clarifier here on this side of the cards. We've got a lot of White Hat influence, the Hermit. And it's always good, as I've said before, you know, as long as he's pointing at something. If he was over here, he wouldn't be pointing at anything. But he's pointing at the strife. So we do have, it's going to be watched. But be aware that it's going to be watched by both sides. The ones performing the shenanigans are going to want to cry foul at the first opportunity they have when they think that they've been unfairly accused. So if you do have issues with shenanigans with the process, Use your legal venues always and peacefully to make yourself known and make your thoughts heard. Let's see, since this is national, it's important. We got the Lover's card showing up here, which is nice, and the Queen of Cups. Now, Queen of Cups, the Lover's card is one of partnership and agreement. So moving forward, things are going to clean up at a little slower nationwide than I think Alaska is going to enjoy. We have the Lover's card, Queen of Cups showing up. And when she shows up, she can be compassionate. Okay. I think that the universe is very aware of how conflicted we are with participating in a process that hasn't been cleaned up. So if you're conflicted about whether to participate in a process that's corrupt, that participation may seem to be consent, remember the power of saying, I do not consent. I plan to, as I participate, say, I do not consent to have corrupted processes continue. I'm participating in the hopes that there will be an accurate accounting of constituent wishes, and mine will be among them. But I do not give any express or implied permission for corrupt processes to continue. And if white hats truly have had some victories in overturning things, and it needs to come out, let's do this. Let's make it public. Let's get people bolstered and galvanized and validated. So, if it's been done, tell us about it. Let's make it happen. That's it for this video. Thank you so much. Your time is precious, and I appreciate that you chose to spend a little of it with me, and that you tolerate my Laura's view on so many things. I do appreciate that. I wish you love and light and all good things until I see you next time.